Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Weeb Weekly. We are snapping back into action like Conor McGregor's left leg. I am joined here by Tropical Joe coming out of Austin, Texas. He's back home, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm back home. I do be back, kind of sick, but we're doing this all together. I'm excited for this week. It's going to be lit. Mizu, how have you been doing, my man?
I'm doing pretty good. Better than that intro.
Yeah, listen.
Why'd you open us with him like that? Dang.
I'm just saying, you talk smack, you can't back up, then you're gonna snap your leg. His
leg couldn't back it up, but he stood up. He stood up at the end of that round, so he was ready to keep going.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did you see his foot was at a 90-degree angle?
No, but I meant like before the split.
Oh,
he was striking and stuff. Like, so it was like he wasn't knocked out. Like,
no, he wasn't gonna win that round though. That's for sure.
No,
anyways, ladies and gentlemen, we'll do Weebs Who Talk Sports at the end of the episode here. But we had a big week, because we had a lot of stuff going on. We had Black Widow, Loki, MHA, Bad Batch, all the things. But I'd say the biggest thing is we have started phase 4. It never felt like it was going to happen, but we started phase 4 with what I personally think is the best female-led superhero movie of all time. Any universe, DC, Marvel, I think it was the most fun female-led action movie I've seen in a long time. I can't even really think back to one that I maybe have liked more, maybe Salt, but that's all I can think. I mean, how'd you guys feel on it?
There was a movie with Charlize Theron. I think it was Bombshell or something like that. It was basically like the female version of James Bond. That one
it was the female version of John Wick. That's what it was.
Yeah, that's what it was. So like that's
Atomic?
like my Atomic Blonde. So that's like my Geiger scale for female led movies, because that was a borderline masterpiece. So, and honestly, to some degree, even Mad Max, like Charlize Theron like took Mad Max and just Furiosa just like took it up to 11. So
she's incredible.
Yeah,
I've never seen her in a role I didn't like her in.
Oh, she's awesome. And even the comedy with Seth Rogen was glorious.
Which one was that? Out of Your League?
I forgot.
No. Where she's like the president or something, and he is. I forget what that's called. It's like Out of Your League or something like that. Or
exactly.
Seth Rogen's like too ugly to be with her.
But yeah, the movie was honestly, in my opinion, like an 8 to 8.3 out of 10. I absolutely loved it.
Better than the Thor Dark World, that's for sure.
Definitely.
Better than a lot of Marvel movies, actually.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I would definitely say I agree with that one. We have no qualms there. What about you, Mizu? Do you think Black Widow could have that impact as like a female-led movie for the rest of time?
I say yes. I will still say that I would still prefer Wonder Woman a little bit more than I did Black Widow.
Good take.
And on top of that, when I think of like, however, I do think that this is another good, fantastic, like action-packed female-led movie, because there aren't a lot of good ones. Like the last one I can think of, like you said, like Atomic Blonde, or I'll say maybe like Kill Bill.
That's a legitimate. Yep, I forgot about Kill Bill. Yeah, that's probably the watermark.
That's the winner. That's the winner, bro.
So I mean, it was incredible, and I think it was, as this phase 4 starting to roll out, we are starting to see more people of color as leads, more women as leads, and that's awesome. But my biggest thing is in the first, and shout out to Marvel, shout out to Disney for doing a good job. It's so much better than Captain Marvel, is what I'm going to say. So much better than because Captain Marvel was like, hey, listen, we're gonna make she's super powerful, and like this is awesome and all that, and we're like, good, like of course, like she's literally Marvel's like Superman, like she should be powerful, she should have her own arc, all of that. And then they boiled down the entire movie to men telling her to not let her emotions get out of scale and all of that. And it felt like more like Black Widow was less written about a woman and more just written about a person who was in a circumstance, and that circumstance sure was specific to women, being the Widow program, but it was written well, and the action scenes were incredible, and it wasn't like they were trying to like write a woman's story. They just wrote a story, and the woman was the lead, and that's all we can ask for, right?
Amen to that.
Yes, so I really liked the way, obviously, like I liked the way that they brought it in. I have a question for you guys. So obviously, like the family has been a big piece of conversation recently with Dom Toretto.
The Dominic Toretto effect, is that what we're calling it now?
Yes, the Dominic Toretto, like Dom is soloing versus left, right, and center. He's out there. Like I've heard Ray said that he beats Goku, and I agree with him because Goku doesn't have the power of family. But did you guys enjoy like the family aspects that they built into the movie? Like Jose, like, do you think that was something that was necessary for them to do? Because like this could have been a straight up Taskmaster versus Black Widow movie, and I don't think anybody would have had a qualm with that. But did you like how they built up her storyline using family?
Hot take: Florence Pugh as Elena literally carried the movie. I loved the sister rivalry. I loved the chemistry that they built slowly, because like they had instances where they were just the beginning scene of them going through like the trauma that is leaving their home.
Oh yeah,
right, and being subjected to like having to go back to Russia because they are spies in a foreign country, and like going through the entire
happened too. Yeah, like that's real. Like that was the 60s. Like that was the Red Scare. Like people, like Russian spies lived in America for years and years and years without anybody knowing it. Watch The Americans. It's based off, I mean, it's fictionalized to a margin of degree, but like degree. But there was theories that in the like 60s and 70s, 50% of like CIA governmental operations were undercover like KGB agents.
That's
and vice versa.
That's wild. That is absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, the Cold War was crazy,
and they captured that. They captured that pretty well. Like just the impact that moment had on their lives, just on the whole family dynamic with the Red Star, because they called him the Crimson Dynamo, which was a reference to another superhero, which is pretty cool. Okay. We'll get to that later. But basically, just to tie it all up, the family aspect I think was dealt with well. I do think I wanted a little bit more from Elena near the end. But besides that, because like so by the time that they do the reveal that like Mama and then Black Widow did the face switch,
they Mission Impossible. They straight out of Mission Impossible.
Yeah, after the Mission Impossible reveal, I felt like it was just like cruise control basically until like Elena got saved at the end.
I guess, yeah.
But like the from the build up, right? So from arcs 1 through 2, the family dynamic was perfect in terms of the chemistry, the banter, the amount of like
it was my favorite part.
Yeah, there was a lot of friction too of like, oh, like this was never real. Like our family dynamic was never real, but at the same time, you see them care for each other a lot. And that dinner scene did it for me. So I would say yes.
Fantastic. And the thing is, like, it brings up a solid point that, you know, Dominic Toretto would agree with, that family doesn't mean blood relation, you know? And so my thing is, since we're talking, his name was Red Star, right? That was his your name. It's something like that, or Red Guardian. Red Guardian. That's what it is. So he exists in the comic books, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I do not know Marvel comic books like nearly as well as I know DC. So he's a super soldier, just like Cap, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I think he was supposed to be the antithesis, right?
He was supposed to be the Russian Soviet version of Captain America.
Yeah, that makes sense. So if Russia made the super soldier serum, did the guy who made that also die? What happened?
I have no idea what the actual circumstances were for that, because there's a little bit of a disconnect right there between obviously the USSR, obviously the US during like the Cold War, and then Hydra, like Hydra's involvement, because technically Hydra is the remnants of the German army from World War II. I don't know if we can actually say the name. I don't know what the fuck.
Yeah. Oh, it's the Nazis.
Okay,
come on,
so,
history. Don't forget history, okay? It's the Nazis.
I know. Yeah, people are sensitive about that stuff, so I'm just trying to keep
it happened.
So like, there's always a little bit of confusion between those three factions within comics. So I would say that from what I saw, right, it's not a perfected superhero serum. Because as you can see, he ages a lot worse.
Yeah, he's fat too. Yeah, and all that. Like
that's also part of his fault, obviously. But like just physically, he is not as pristine as Rogers, I would say.
Well, here's the thing though. Cap was on ice for what, 60 years?
That is true. That is also very true.
Like Cap does age. You know, that's what we saw at the end of Endgame was that he goes back and he ages and he lives a full life. And by the end of it, sure, he still looks great for being like 90 years old, but like he also wasn't in a gulag, you know, like, so at the same time, like, I don't know, was it worse? Was it a worse serum?
I don't know, man. It just depends on how you frame it, I guess. At least in his case, I think it's just the way that he was treated, because basically they sent a super soldier into like, so what, like white suburban Ohio.
Why? Yeah, what was that about? They were just like, hey, you're gonna go work undercover. I was like, why even shoot him up? Why even make him a super soldier if he's gonna be undercover? Like he doesn't have a circumstance to like break people's arms like he was in the gulag.
Yeah,
which was a great scene. I guess I was kind of calling Conor McGregor's shot, but listen. Okay, so also Taskmaster, we brought them up earlier. I thought Taskmaster was a robot for half of the movie, but it's revealed that Taskmaster is actually a female in this, which isn't usually the way it works in the comics. Totally fine. Did you guys like what they did with Taskmaster though?
Mizu, I'm gonna let you start on this one. Do you agree? Do you like the idea of Taskmaster just being like a gotcha moment for the plot, or what?
So
was it a gotcha moment for the plot?
I think so.
Okay,
that's my big take. That's my
Mizu, go off.
So here's the thing. So I've been seeing that a lot, and there's like two pools of thought right now on that. So you got one side who doesn't like the fact that Taskmaster's like basically whole origin and how the character has been changed.
Yeah.
Not just for the fact of the character being female, it was just like, no, this is not how the character really is. On top of that, I believe that the Taskmaster, she was able to copy people's moves based off a type of device and not just her, like,
they kind of like uploaded it to her brain. Yeah,
because in the comic books, it was actually something that Taskmaster was born with. From the out the gate, Taskmaster could do anything a person can do minus powers, just like that. Since like we even see little scenes or little comic book panels of him watching cowboys shoot a gun, and he's able to shoot a gun as just as a little boy in a cowboy suit. Like, I mean, the character knew how to do that, but it's weird that they just made it a device-related thing. But then the other pull of thought, which is sadly, you got the incels who are just like, oh, I don't like the fact that Taskmaster is a woman.
Stop erasing our culture. It's like,
so
what do you care?
So here's my whole thing about it. Honestly, overall, Taskmaster is one of those characters that you could like flip flop, because the character is not like super concrete.
Yeah.
That it's like, oh, like if you change this one aspect of the character, it will be ruined. Like, no, Taskmaster is a flexible character you can, mix around with. However,
you're not making the Black Panther white. Like you're like,
no. So like those are one of those things that you can't change. Like that would be integral to his character. You can't change him white when he comes from an African country that's homogeneous and has never been conquered. But with Taskmaster, I think the one thing that I would say that I didn't like is that, Taskmaster is related to the bad guy.
Yeah.
It has something to do with the Black Widow program instead of just being honestly like how the characters in the comics, a free agent who just works for what he does, like what for he or she does. Like, I'm just working with, it would have been, in my opinion, better if like, I'm just working for Dreykov because money or whatever I'm looking for.
Yeah.
But
like overall, Taskmaster and Deadpool are very similar. in terms of their origins, you know.
Which is funny because Taskmaster does have a history with Deadpool.
Yeah, they're very good friends in the comics.
Oh no, Taskmaster hates Deadpool.
Oh, he does? I thought they were friends. See, like I said, I don't know the Marvel.
Spider-Man and Deadpool are like frenemies.
There we go.
Yeah, that's where Deadpool are friends. But Taskmaster hates Deadpool.
Yeah.
But besides that, honestly, I didn't really hate it. I was just like, it could have been. I think Taskmaster could have been dealt with better, in my opinion. But overall, like, it wasn't. It could have been worse. Like,
could have been way worse.
Could have been a lot worse, that's for sure. Go ahead. No, go.
What I was gonna say, because like it ties up when we were talking about the Red Guardian. So Taskmaster in the comics was basically born with that ability of basically having that cognition enhancement where like he can just see something and emulate it amazingly.
Photographic memory or something like
exactly,
that.
Exactly. So what he did, right, is he injected himself with a Nazi experimental version of the super soldier serum, but it didn't give him exactly what Rogers got. It basically enhanced everything in terms of reflexes, agility, like speed. So the biggest ones that I saw, at least from the, like, because I haven't read as much about like him in terms of like the comics that I've read and the graphic novels that I've read, but like from what I've seen in the movie and what I've seen online, it basically matches up. So basically his physical movement, he can predict a lot of the opponent's movements. So not just learn their tactics, but like have master. So it's basically like a Spider-Man type of not the full not the full spider sense, but like his reflexes are OP. And for example, he is an expert combatant. Like the thing that I wanted to see the most, which we technically got to see a little bit, is like the iconic sword. Like, because he like in the comics, he's fought Thor with like a shield and a sword. Like it's been a full on like medieval battle. Like that
feels like a bad idea. That feels like a really bad idea for him, at least.
It feels really bad.
Because that is the way to beat Taskmaster. That's why I thought Red Guardian was going to have no problem with him. I mean, obviously he's rusty, but like Taskmaster, while they can emulate any ability, essentially it is like can't emulate Superman's strength or like, you know, Red Guardian's strength. And so that's how you beat him, which is cool. But yeah, no, I also didn't mind what they did. I thought it was, you're right. It was a plot device. That's for sure. Making him related to the Widow program, making him related to all of that. But I think Taskmaster also brings up a very interesting subplot, in a subplot that I thought was very important throughout the course of the movie, and that was control over women. It was playing with the trafficking, like the sex trafficking problem of the world, essentially, except making it combatants instead of, you know, sex trafficking. It's worldwide, and then also like all of these powerful men manipulating and controlling women in order to do what they want, and it's not usually assassinating people. And so I thought that was an interesting subplot, and I thought that it was not overstated. It wasn't thrown in your face, but it was interesting and subtle. What were your guys' like key takeaways, like subplot wise, from the movie?
Oof, at least for me, I'm actually really proud of Marvel for doubling down at the end. I'm not gonna lie to you. So like, because what we've seen so far from all, not to pile on like other studios.
Don't you?
Yeah, I'm not gonna pile on other studios. But like usually, like when we retcon stuff, the retcon never works out the best way possible, right? So,
what do you mean?
So what I'm saying is, at the end, spoiler alert if you haven't seen Black Widow, I mean, we've already
I think they're gonna be kind of upset with us by this point. Like 25 minutes in and we're just getting like,
oh no. Basically they confirmed that Black Widow is indeed dead. Like her sacrifice for the Soul Stone was indeed.
Not even a spoiler. We saw her hit the ground.
Yeah, but like that, but I'm actually like proud of them being like, okay, no, it's not like a gotcha. Like she might come back. It's like, well, no, she's dead. So that was important. The second one is, and I think it's a perfect segue to talk about the end credit scene, because this is the best intro to a Disney Plus show if I've ever seen one.
Oh, I wanted to know what you thought about it, because I'm kind of lost on what to think about it, you know? So Florence Pugh, who plays Natalia's sister, Elena, which, by the way, I'd never seen Florence Pugh before.
Baddie, certified.
Oh my goodness, I have the biggest of crushes. Like it's bad. It's really bad. Like, she is gorgeous, like ridiculous.
And
but anyways,
badass.
Yeah, and I'm gonna stop simping immediately. But she's also dating Zach Braff, and he's like 45, which is weird. I looked up her name, and she's dating Zach Braff, and they're like 30 years apart, which is crazy. But anyways, so she is seen at Natalia's like grave site, and she whistles. And your brain first thing that goes is you're gonna hear Natalia whistle back, because that's a thing that they set up in the beginning of the movie. They whistle to each other when they see each other. And so you're like, you're gonna hear Natalia, like Natalia's not alive, she's gonna whistle back. But instead, we cut to the Hydra woman, whose name I'm totally spacing right now.
Contessa Valentina. I'm gonna leave it to Mr. Mizu to give us a little bit of context on why this is so important.
Please do.
Okay, so Contessa Valentina, also known as Miss Hydra or Madam Hydra, is basically, she is one of the leaders, or you could say spokesperson of Hydra. But as you know, Hydra is technically no more. We think, but we have her, Valentina, and we see her. If you watch Falcon Winter Soldier, we see her in about, I'm going to say 2 or 3 episodes of the series.
Towards the end.
She's the one that hires John Walker, U.S. agent, to be on her side. Yeah. And basically, if you want to think about it, she's basically the evil female version of Nick Fury.
Exactly.
Or is she just Amanda Waller?
Or Amanda Waller from DC.
Amanda Waller.
Big facts.
But not a good guy. But right now, I don't know, movie or the movie and TV show. She seems like, I wouldn't even go so far to say evil. She seems like in the middle.
Gray. She's a gray Jedi.
She's gray, but I'm still gonna I would say gray leaning towards evil, but we don't know what her motivations are.
I think
chaotic neutral.
Yeah.
However, some people are speculating that she is going to be the one that basically recruits the Thunderbolts, and the Thunderbolts are the Marvel's equivalent of the Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad.
Yeah. Bingo.
Yep. So it's created by Thunderbolt Ross, the general who is also in the movie, or the Secretary of Defense, actually.
Yeah.
In the movie, but it looks like she's the one picking the people who are going to be in it. So right now we got U.S. agent, and it looks like we got Yelena,
to
be also in it too. And some people are also speculating that the other person who's going to be in it is Zemo.
Yep.
And somebody else that hasn't been revealed yet.
Ghost Rider.
Refresh my maybe Ghost Rider. Refresh my memory on who Zemo is.
Baron Zemo from
Baron Zemo. Got you.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So that's cool. So do you think that's going to be a TV show or a movie?
The Thunderbolts could easily become a TV show.
I think both.
Both?
I think both. It's going to start as a TV show, but they might later show up in movies or something.
Yeah, for sure.
Because what's so weird and kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like a cool nerdy moment, is like, we have now seen a crossover from television, the TV shows, to the movies. It's like official, and we're gonna see more and more and more of that, obviously, as time goes on. But like, it's kind of cool. Like, TV shows are how we got our fix through quarantine. You know, the Marvel TV shows are how we got we got that into our veins, and now we're like seeing like, oh my god, we're seeing the people, like I saw them on the TV show on the big screen, and it's just cool that it's all one continuous canon universe. I was so against the TV shows at first, and now I'm so happy that they exist, because they pound out the content that we need on a week by week basis.
Oh, there's one other thing I noticed too, is that Valentina, she shows up at the end of the movie, like just like in the end credit scene, talking to Lena. And funny enough, it also mirrors the first Iron Man movie where Nick Fury shows up and talks to Tony about his Avengers initiative, and that was on the phase 1. Now she's doing the same thing for phase 4.
Deadpool approves, bro. Deadpool approves.
Of Marvel or of Mizu's observational skills?
Of Mizu. Oh, okay. What a great fucking take, bro.
So there was a lot in terms of like that we saw that was really, really cool. And I guess there is kind of like Easter eggy things going on. Kind of what we're doing right now is we're fleshing out that post-Civil War world, right? Because we lost a bunch of years in there. So you guys think, is that it for Black Widow, or are we getting another movie?
I don't know.
Do you think there's more space for them to flesh out another, like a whole nother installment?
I think they might switch it, right? But I just wanted to check what your opinion is on this Mizu too, because like, do you think they could just use like, for example, treat the Black Widow because they showed dozens of Black Widows, so like they could treat it as the Black Panther, where it's just like the Black Widow movie's just the title, and then just like have other people play it, because you could do that's the same thing they do with Ghost Rider. Like, Johnny Blaze is not the only Ghost Rider. I mean, like the fucking Punisher is the Ghost Rider. So like,
Johnny Blaze isn't even the best Ghost Rider, for being honest. He's mid at best.
It's definitely Frank Castle. It's definitely
Frank Castle's up there. There's also the Mexican Ghost Rider. His name I'm totally spacing right now.
I know some
there's so many. There's so many better ones.
But yeah, Mizu, what would you take a Black Widow movie led by Florence Pugh?
Robbie Reyes.
Honestly, I can see it being done. I'm pretty sure this is like the end per se for Scarlett Johansson playing Black Widow, but there is also that door. But some people speculate that there's also that door, because if we do this whole multiverse thing, there is a possibility that she could come back as Natasha's Black Widow in maybe a different alternate universe. We never know, because I mean, if we got a different Gamora in our
can't we get another
timeline in our sacred timeline? Then we could, stuff could happen that way too. However, I do say that probably highly unlikely, but we never know. But I can see it happening. It all depends on how audience perception of her as the new Black Widow. Because if people aren't feeling her as the new Black Widow, some people, they will just maybe set her aside and maybe put her in, movies, like kind of like how Black Widow herself was. She was just like a supporting character in a bunch of movies. But I don't know. It all depends on how people feel about her. And granted, right now, a lot of people like her, so that's a good sign.
I would love more Florence Pugh in my life. Where has she been? Have you guys seen her in a movie before this?
No,
that's her first big one.
I've never heard of her until now.
Let me put my
I guess Zach Braff has
Google
heard of her.
glasses. Google glasses on.
Google glasses.
We could be wrong, because sometimes you never notice an actor until you go back and like, oh man, I didn't know this actor was in this.
Yeah. So they're like a background character. They just the outfit doesn't look as good on them or something.
She's relatively new. She's relatively new. So she's 25.
Honestly, good for her.
She's 25. She was in Little Women. Little Women was like her big breakout one.
The one about the NASA. Yeah, the NASA women. Yep.
Yeah,
right.
That's about the March sisters.
Hidden Figures, I think.
Hidden Figures. I'm thinking about Hidden Figures.
Little Women was the one with Emma Watson, the girl from
it's based off
the Lovely Bones. Yep. Yeah, it's a 2019 one. And then I see her. She was in Malevolent. She was, but these are like, there's only a few roles.
Crazy. Good for her, honestly. Good for her. Yeah. Okay, so since Mizu brought up the sacred timeline, I'd say it's about time we crack into some Loki, because you know what? I'm gonna come out and say it. Tom Hiddleston wasn't lying. He wasn't trying to trick us. There wasn't a joke. He was being completely serious. We are bending the Marvel universe currently, and I personally am here for it. They are selling alligator Loki Funko Pops. If anybody out there listening has got their hands on one, I will pay you for it. I want it. It's the only Funko Pop I've ever wanted. How did you guys enjoy the episode?
I'm gonna start here because I have a lot to say about this episode. First of all,
good thing we have a podcast.
People say that this is just filler. Fuck no. This episode literally packed the Easter eggs, packed the references, added flavor, added context, and teased us in more ways than one. And this is where I'm gonna let you guys know. I actually have a hot take for who is inside the castle at the end of the episode. But basically what we got today was
Spider-Man.
no. But we'll see.
All three Spider-Mans. They're getting looped in.
Dude, that has to happen. But like the other thing that I wanted to say is that they were able to add so much more depth to what Loki means to the multiverse, just more than just glorious purpose. Because we saw A, how powerful they are. B, how influential they can be to their timelines, aka Kid Loki killing Thor. Yeah. And then 3, the importance that Sylvie and Loki's relationship has. So like it's not purely romantic now, but it's like slowly getting there. It's like more of like I admire you / I like you / I care for you. So Mizu, how did you like the episode? I'm giving it like a 9.5 out of 10.
Okay.
Honestly, fantastic. I love all of it. Every part of it was an Easter egg. There was so many Easter eggs in it. There were so many little bits and pieces. First of all, I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of surprised that they put Kid Loki in there, because Kid Loki is actually relatively new to the comic books. Like there's no long history of Kid Loki existing in the comic books. He is relatively a new concept, and they already brought in the Kid Loki. I love that. I love seeing all the different versions of Loki that we got to see. President Loki, boastful Loki.
Yeah,
I didn't even know
President Loki. We got President Loki too.
I don't even know what President Loki is, but if you like, this episode makes the whole argument of people being upset about Loki being a gender fluid character look so much dumber. So much dumber.
For real.
He is a fucking alligator in one universe, okay? Yes. And you're upset that he's gender fluid in ours, okay? He has scales and cold blood in one universe. He's white, he's black, he's a president. Sometimes he's old, sometimes he's young. What the fuck does it? Why does it? What between his leg matter?
For real. I mean, Alligator Loki was incredible. Fantastic. I just love how literally every time old Loki, I'll call him old Loki, was translating for him. He's like, oh, see, the alligator gets things. Like, no, he's praying right now.
By the way, he put in one episode, Oscar level performance.
Yes, the old Loki is a goat.
Incredible.
Loki, just for one episode, I was just like, I felt like for that one episode, I felt like I knew him for a lifetime.
Yeah. Dude. And he's so powerful too. Oh my God.
Yes. That scene of him building all of Asgard from memory, by the way, and then just like screaming, glorious purpose, as he just gets wiped. Chills. Legitimate chills.
I got chills, bro.
It was Grant. I was like watching it. I was like, he deserves. Do you get Oscars for TV shows? Is that how that works? Emmys. He deserves. Give the man an Emmy. Give that man an Emmy. Immediately. Okay, but so you referenced that there was a lot of Easter eggs. And wait, people were saying this episode was filler.
Yeah, people were saying this episode was just like fan service.
I haven't heard that before, and that's weird. Why are they calling it filler?
I don't know. I think it might be because it was like heavy Easter egg heavy. So heavy Easter egg heavy. Lol.
There were some heavier Easter eggs.
And that's one that I wanted to get into because I covered that shit.
That's where I was going.
So 3 of the Easter eggs that I like the most, right?
I only
Throg. We saw you. So you know when they're panning to the secret lair, right as they're going into the secret lair, and you see Mjolnir and you see something banging up against the wall
in a jar. That's a frog.
That's a frog Thor. That's the frog version of Thor.
I knew it was a Thor. I just didn't. I didn't pause. Throg.
Yeah, Throg
is the name.
It's a frog.
Incredible.
Ribbit.
Yeah.
Ribbit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like that's the first Easter egg that was good. Another that was really cool was the Thanos copter. So those
what is that? What was that? I saw that and I was like, why is Thanos a helicopter?
So you know Endgame, right? Infinity War, how Thanos is just a badass. He's like the Infinity Gauntlet. He's like the noble titan that's gonna bring balance to the universe. Man's used to ride around in a helicopter in the golden age of comics.
Did he actually? You're telling me he was snapping people out of dimension between gas fill-ups?
Bro. Do you want to hear something funny? Like, Deadpool fooled him into giving him the real Infinity Gauntlet, and he hijacked his helicopter, bro.
Oh my God. No wonder he hates him. That's ridiculous. I didn't know that. That's awesome. I love that.
Dude, the Thanos copter, like that's what I was saying. Like in the video that I made about it, I was like, bro, if you know the Thanos copter, you know there's some like really wacky stories that Jack Kirby and Stan Lee made with Thanos. Because he's I don't know. And then the last one, which I also wanted to hear Mizu's opinion on, finally we got a reference to one of the big boys in the MCU, because as they're panning in another of the scenes, we see a statue of the Living Tribunal.
What?
I told your ass.
How did you see these? How did you see that?
Bro, the thing is, like, at least for me, I was like so obsessed with like finding the Easter eggs that as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh my God, everything that I've been talking about, like, when's the Living Tribunal gonna show up? There's literally a statue right there. So, Mizu, tell me, which were the Easter eggs that caught your attention? Are you in my camp that we're gonna get a Living Tribunal Easter egg at some point? Let me know.
So definitely the first one I wouldn't say the first one I noticed, but the one I definitely will say on my list is the Living Tribunal statue. I love how it actually looks like how the entity looks in the comic books.
How did you guys catch that? I'm looking at the photo now and it just looks like rocks. It's just the head, and then there's a lower part of a mouth, cloth, and then a face coming out of the side of his head.
Yeah. So the Living Tribunal has 3 heads. One head that covers the top part of its face with like the eyes covered, but its mouth is showing. One that shows its full face, and another one where its face is fully like draped over. And it's basically like the Living Tribunal is like I'll say God almost, like
it is.
Like,
it is
very omnipresent power in the universe. And I think this is the second reference we got of the Living Tribunal, because we got the reference in Doctor Strange when what's his name? Mordor? Not Mordor. That's from
the Eye. Yes, of course.
Yeah,
you mean the big space monster he fought?
Oh no, not him. Not Dormammu. The black dude, the black sorcerer next to him. When he's training Doctor Strange, he tells him about like the lore and stuff like that. And
Mordo.
Caramondo.
This weapon I'm wielding is the staff of the Living Tribunal. So that was the first reference of the Living Tribunal, saying that he exists. But besides that, my other favorite Easter egg is the Kang reference. So everybody thought when we saw the trailers and stuff that we thought that was Avengers Tower. Well, technically it is, but isn't. So it is the building. However, instead of saying the Avengers A on it, it says Kang. And there's an alternate universe where Kang the Conqueror takes over, I believe, all of like the Avengers and like Tony's business, and he becomes the company's called Kang's, the Kang Company or something like that. So it's basically another alternate version of Kang the Conqueror, who became like this ultimate business tycoon. So that's
crazy.
I know. So hopefully, like, come on.
So you think that's pointing towards it's got to be Kang in the castle,
possibly,
right?
Possibly, but you know they can pull a 180 on us.
I mean, they definitely could. So my thing is, a lot of these Easter eggs. So this is the planet where timelines get dumped, right? Thanos copter obviously doesn't use that anymore. That's why it's on the planet. We're never going to see Throg. That's why he's on the planet. Do you not think that a statue of the Living Tribunal being in the void means that possibly the Living Tribunal is dead? Maybe they're not around.
It wouldn't really make sense because the Living Tribunal is a Nexus being. There's only one. So like it's just like Wanda, for example. She's a Nexus being, so there's only one of her. And the Tribunal basically does not get fucked with unless you're the Beyonders. So like so to give people context, there's like a hierarchy of beings in Marvel. And then like the one above all, which is the one that everybody like references, is basically the overpower. Like there's nothing that can go beyond that. So this B entity oversees everything based around Marvel. Some people equate it to being the writer, like the writer of the Marvel universe in general. So it's basically
it's Stan Lee.
Yeah. So
okay.
it literally manifests itself as what you want it to look like. So for example, the few times that he's shown up like as a homeless man. He's shown up to Spider-Man. Like he showed up as a homeless man to Spider-Man because he was in New York, you know?
Just if you're controlling an entire universe, it just feels very small potatoes to just be like, hey, I'm in New York. I'm trying to get a slice. You know, it's just like, what are you doing?
Exactly. And then he can basically show up like he can basically show up like the sun, like a flaming body. And I'm like, bro, like it's ridiculous. So like below him, there's like the cosmic entities, right? So Galactus, Eternity, Infinity, all of those like concepts, and even below that are like the Celestials and stuff like that. So the Living Tribunal is above Eternity and Infinity. So like like the Living Tribunal judges everything in the universe with its 3 heads. So that's why I think the big thing why I'm obsessed with the Living Tribunal is because he was supposed to show up in Infinity War. They just dropped that scene from the movie. So and that was confirmed by Kevin Feige at one point. I don't know. I think it was just supposed to be like a hint of like, boom, this is like doing something for the timeline. I think they were trying to like do that, but at one point they said that Kevin Feige said we'll do it later, or like just focus on Thanos, and then like we'll do it later. But now that we're talking about that finale, I wanted to go to my hot
your
take
castle
for the day.
theory. Who's in the castle? I can't wait. I can't wait.
I know Mizu is gonna be excited about this one because for my Marvel fans that know, there's a few castles that are pretty famous in Marvel. We have
my god, it's Vlad.
It would be
back.
His name starts with a V though. Triple V. Well, double V. Victor Von Doom is my hot take. Is my hot take.
Explain it to me like I'm 5.
Okay, so Marvel has a
Doctor Doom.
Doctor Doom.
Gotcha.
So the Marvel way, right, is never look at the obvious, right? So they're screaming Kang the Conqueror at us. They're screaming it with Ravonna, with everybody. But like, we know that Doctor Doom literally fucks with time. He goes forward in time, backwards in time. And he's really famous for having his castle, which can literally travel through time and space at one point because he literally becomes a god by himself.
That's Vlad's castle.
Exactly.
The thing is,
my theory is we got a tease of the Fantastic Four in WandaVision, right? Because in WandaVision, where they were talking about like that astrophysicist that should be looking at the case, we were thinking that was Mr. Fantastic, right? That's where I was like first thinking about that. And now that I saw the castle, and I'm like, okay, it looks like the castle that Kang uses, but why do I get the slight feeling that it might just be Doctor Doom? Just making like that he's stuck in that timeline and like he can't get out. And then once we meet him, it's like, oh shit, the Fantastic Four are coming. Mizu, what do you think about that?
I think you've broken Mizu.
I did not put him into the equation, and that is very true. Yeah, one of his first things he ever has done was mess with time.
Yeah,
he learned science, he learned magic, and the first thing he did was make a time machine. And he went around looking at different alternate universes and things of that nature. And because of doing that, that's when he got to his, final solution to what he wants to do is, conquer the world.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did not think about that. That would be an interesting, and I'm not gonna lie, beautiful twist. I would literally look at Marvel like, okay, fine, we didn't get King Conqueror, but this is better because if you guys don't know, I've been wanting Doctor Doom to show up in the MCU for a long ass time. I feel like Doctor Doom hasn't been done justice in these movies yet. Every time we do a Fantastic Four, he's just been crap, and he's never to his truest form. So if that is true, if Doctor Doom does show up and he is in that freaking castle, I will lose my mind.
If it is Castle Doom, I will literally fall flat.
I mean, honestly, this clearly, what we're saying, Mr. Sorry.
Oh, but honestly, like, there are like many people, of course. So you got Doctor Doom, you got Kang the Conqueror. That's another one. Some people speculate that it's a version of Kang the Conqueror. It's Kang the Conqueror, but not the Kang the Conqueror. Some people are because there's like, mind you, there's many, because Kang the Conqueror messes with time. There's many different versions of him. So some people speculate that it's a different version of him. Some people speculate that there is this guy, I forgot his official title, the one who watches, the one who keeps, something like that. And
the Watcher.
He's the person who created the timekeepers.
Oh yeah.
He's actually the person who controls all the time and stuff like that. But he made, or at first there used to be a timekeepers, but then something happened to him and he defeated them. They used to be time destroyers. And then he came in, took them down, and he controlled time, but he wanted to keep up like the ruse, or not the ruse, but like to keep up like the flow of time. So he turned the time destroyers into timekeepers to keep the flow of time. So some people speculate that it's him, that person. I just forgot his name. I gotta look it up, but it might be him. Some people also speculate that it's a variation of another Loki variant. Just
that would be the worst. That's the worst. And I'm not gonna lie,
that's the one I'm not looking forward
to. That's the worst tease.
If it is another version of Loki and it's been Loki this entire time, and I mean, granted, it makes logical sense to a point. Like, think about it. Like, like it'd be Loki, and Loki's trying to keep his or her timeline intact, so to get rid of all the other Lokis that would ruin his or her sacred timeline. So that is a possibility.
It definitely is.
Because that would be, granted, it will make sense to the point of the story to a point, but it will be incredibly tacky in my opinion.
Yeah, I think betting odds favorite is either that or Kang the Conqueror. I'd say those are probably even. And then you know what? We'll throw in Victor Von Doom as a close third, though, because that would be incredible. Here's the thing. Doomcast will be awesome. All of that. The reason I want it to be Victor Von Doom is because I know John Krasinski would be the perfect Mr. Incredible. He would be so good for that role. And I want to see him in the MCU because he deserves to be in it. That's what I want. But we wouldn't have even got there without Sylvie. And thank God for Sylvie, because Loki was going to try and stab a cosmic shark to death. And so like we are now seeing, like we said with Black Widow, like we're seeing a very well-written female-led kind of show. Then like she's the head, she's the brain, she's the only rational Loki. Like the other Lokis are all hiding or fighting or betraying each other, and we're actually seeing like competence and like non-dependency on men in the role. I'm loving what they're doing with Sylvie. Do you guys think that she is being written correctly? Do you guys like the direction they're taking with her? And also, what do you think is in the future for her? Because her timeline doesn't end with her death. We don't know that yet.
Mizu, start us off.
Honestly, since they are setting up the multiverse, so I'm pretty sure that those probably other Lokis might go back to their timelines, and we never know what they're going to do. So there is a window of opportunity for Sylvie to be around.
Yeah.
But I have a weird feeling that they're going to kill one of them off, or something's going to happen.
So her or Loki, essentially,
or one of, like, either Loki or either Sylvie or Loki are going to be killed off, or something's going to happen to them one way or another, one way or the other. So, but overall, I definitely agree that Sylvie is well written. She doesn't feel like, a damsel in distress. Like, she's been the one pulling the strings, and honestly, it feels like Loki is the one like messing everything up. Like,
exactly,
everything has been put together, and he just comes in and just ruins the plans. Overall, yeah, I think Sylvie is pretty well written. I honestly have no real critiques, besides I just wish that maybe the series was a little bit longer.
Yeah. All right, Jose, what about you?
Oh, I'm at a crossroads, right? Because what I'm thinking is, these shows that we're getting from Marvel, they can basically be seen as anthology series, just like individual stories that can be compressed into 6 or 7 episodes or 8 episodes or whatever you have. But they always lead to something else, right? They have some implication for what's coming up next. That's what Marvel's setting up, at least with WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, and now with Loki. And even like even further, the What If series is kicking off in August 11, which is literal, and it's confirmed.
And we got a trailer for it.
Yes, we can talk about after this. It's confirmed to be canon. So those are multiverse worlds. Like there's a world where T'Challa is literally Star-Lord. So that is like glorious.
That's sick.
Me. But the thing is that like, I don't, now that we've established that, the only issue is that like some of these characters could just be considered fodder. It's like if one dies, perfect, because there's like a billion different versions of them that could show up. But what I'm saying about this is I love Sylvie. I love her character. I love her. Like, I love how she taught herself enchanting, and she literally enchanted Eliath, who stopped the person in the castle from getting out or whatever. She also basically got to Loki and got him to reflect on why he's been so selfish and narcissistic. And 3, she can create Nexus events by just being close to the guy. So like, the fact that she might die at the end of the show is kind of sucky. But at the same time, this lends itself to be like, okay, look, there's more opportunities for her in a plethora of other stories that we can make in other shows. So 1, I love Sylvie. 2, she shouldn't die. And 3, Marvel needs to tell us what the hell is up with these shows. Like, are they going to be like contained stories, or are they all going to like lead to something better? Because I don't know.
Oh, I think they have to. They absolutely have to lead to something. I mean, because like I said, I think this is what's going to kick off the multiverse. Oh, that's what we've been saying this entire time. This is what's going to kick off the Multiverse of Madness. At least what we're hoping. And that's, I mean, that situation will probably lead itself to King and Conqueror being in the castle. But yeah, that's what I think is going to happen. And we kind of saw it with Black Widow, you know, because we saw a little leak over like a character that we were introduced to, in fact, Captain America and the Winter Soldier, now is in the actual movie. So I think there is I think there's going to be tumble over for sure. But so since we are talking Sylvie, and since we are talking Black Widow and female character leads and all that, I think it's we chose the theme for today would be to talk about, you know, like thematic, like character leads, like female leads, and our favorite in modern culture, and the way and what we like about them in a segment that we're kind of playing with, that Jose brought to me and Mizu last week, called Stack 'em Up. And so I'm gonna do a little stack 'em up right now, if you guys don't mind.
Yes, sir.
To get you guys a little I guess briefing on what Stack 'em Up is. Essentially, each one of us comes to the table here. It's a new segment. If only we had a sound, a new segment alert. But we have each are going to bring someone to the table, and we're going to say this is the best female character lead in modern culture, like modern pop culture, and here's why. And then you guys are going to tell us in the comments, and we might make polls and all these things like that, who won. Who brought the best to the table? So I'm going to go first. I'm going to get us started here. In my vote for the number 1 female character, female lead, female anything in modern pop culture right now is Nobara from JJK. And here's why. Because we've all seen JJK. And yes, it's not what we're currently absorbing, but Nobara has stuck with me for months now. And here's why. Because anime very rarely gets this correct, unfortunately, unless it is literally, that's the whole point of the anime. If it's even in magical girl animes, we very rarely get that correct. The entirety of the magical girl trope is actually probably off base for what we're looking for here. So usually in a shonen, we get the Sakuras, we get the Hinatas, we get the, I don't even know, we get the Namis, we get, you know, it's usually they're part of the team, of course. They're seen as equal, of course, but they're weaker. They're usually in distress, that kind of situation. They're boiled down to either being a mother, a sister, a daughter, or a sexual object, and that is it. But Nobara is none of those things. She is none of those things. Her relationship with the main character, Itadori, is not sexual. It is platonic friendship. They exist platonically of each other. She is seen as powerful, as we have seen in the last couple of episodes, does not depend on others, does not get put in situations that she can't get herself out of and doesn't need a rescuing. She is also, she also is seen just banging with the boys. Like, that's the thing. Like, she can bring it to the table. She does things that are like the way that she fights that final boss fight where she's throwing nails like through her wrist. That is something that you would not typically see out of a female in a shonen anime. And it's so trope specific in shonen animes to boil these women down to that kind of role that it was so incredible. And it's the reason why, it's one of the many reasons, but it's a big reason to me as to why JJK is in my top 5 anime of all time, because it's not even just her. It is all the women that they bring to the table in that show. And I think it sets the precedent for anime in the future, especially for the shonen archetype. Jose, Mizu.
Okay, so I have 2, right?
Okay.
So I have one.
Cheating.
Yes, but I'm going to say for the past, like in the past, because there's obviously been a ton of great characters that have transcended the space and time of the movie that they were in or the series that they were in. The ones that come to mind: Ellen Ripley from the Alien series. She was a badass. Sarah Connor,
my daughter.
Yeah, Sarah Connor. We got people that say Hermione. Hermione Smart's literally like helped Harry Potter just survive for 6 years. My bit, but those are not in my realm.
Oh, okay.
I would say those that transcended space and time in the past, Princess Leia Organa. So Leia, I think Leia with all that she was, right? She could have been the damsel in distress. She could have been the one that literally just stayed to her role. But no, she literally became a general for the rebellion, right? She didn't fall for the main character. Spoiler alert, it was her brother. But yes, love did not define her.
She didn't try, yes. Like they did kiss.
I agree, but what we've been talking about with JJK, right? Love and the romantic relationship is usually the main component or the main driving factor of a female's role. In this case, it complements her. Like her relationship with Han Solo complements their banter, complements the comedy in the movie. It also cements like the legacy of that whole family with bringing Kylo Ren into existence and all all the things that happened in the sequel trilogy. That's a whole other argument that we can have. But I think Princess Leia Organa gave a lot of female characters was the inspiration for a lot of female characters moving forward throughout the 70s and 80s to just not conform to that just sexualized character and just be that force for like actual plot development in the movie or in the series that they were in. So like because of Leia, one, the plans of the Death Star were correctly given to the soldiers. Because of Leia, they also were able to basically flow through episode 4 and into episode 5 because she was commanding the rebel forces at Hoth. Like she was the one there besides the council. But like Princess Leia is the one in movies. I would say in animation or stuff like that more recent. This is more of a like not obscure pick because she's well known. But like it might be to a lesser degree, but just in the scope of her story, Katara from Avatar: The Last Airbender. Katara, it's
a good choice. It's a really good choice.
Katara took Aang and Zuko and made them both into what they should have become.
Yeah.
Like and
she was
also,
the moral compass.
Exactly.
Of the show.
And the biggest thing for me is that at the point where she could have had her revenge, she didn't. And it was because and like her character development throughout the entire show and even into Legend of Korra, it just screams of like a badass female character that had every single bucket filled. She was courageous. She was also extremely smart, strategic. Her romance was not like it wasn't cringy. Like she literally saw the worst of Aang and made him into the Avatar. So like I'm going for Katara and then Princess Leia. What about you, Mizu?
Well, so wait, can I quickly talk in your points here for a second here?
Yes.
Because we're bouncing this around. First off, all of the Avatar anthology, Korra is also incredibly well written. So are a lot of the other female characters from Korra. I agree with the Leia take for the sequels.
Okay.
But Slave Leia was many people's first erection, sir. So I'm just gonna say, listen, they put that woman in a skimpy brass bikini and chained her up next to a big old slug, and that was on posters, my good sir.
I think it's a theme that the third movie in a Star Wars franchise is always like something of a controversy.
It takes a little dip.
Yeah, it takes a little dip, except for maybe the fight scene in episode 3. But yeah, I'll take it. I'll give it to you. Yes, maybe
all right,
slightly.
Listen, if this is a competition, I'm just trying to get my points up. That's it.
Hey,
all right,
I'll take Katara. I'll take Katara instead of Princess
okay, doubling down on Katara.
Oh man. Like Jose, I also have 2.
Okay.
One's an anime and one is also Star Wars. So first one with the anime, I will have to say Noelle from Black Clover. So
yep.
In both anime and manga. So at first when you meet Noelle, she seems like this stereotypical female character in a battle shonen. You expect, I hate to use it because I'm a person who defends her a lot, but you expect her to be the Sakura of the show. Which I resent that statement. I'm just saying it for the sake of argument.
Me and Mizu are been on backing Sakura's side. We literally lead the offensive of she is useful. I just made a video that got almost 500,000 views because people were mad. I talked about the people Sakura could beat in a fight.
Yes, I saw that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But people think that she was going to be like that, but she grew, and to me, she's one of the prime examples of female progression in anime, because she went from being, I'm not gonna lie, a snot-nosed royal woman to being a whole powerhouse. She literally, what's the word? She literally looked at her flaws and understood that and kept pushing and got stronger to the point where she never really needs help with anyone anymore, especially going on in the manga. She is literally, I'm not gonna lie, like, because her magic, by the way, is water-based magic. And at this point, you can basically call her the goddess of water. She literally not only has been a person who has received help, she's also helped others. Because usually when a female character in anime is always the one being helped on, doesn't really help others.
We don't get that power scaling very frequently.
Exactly.
You know, we it's just like it's a lot in, it works in Naruto that way. Like only Hinata and Sakura really ever scale up in power, and Hinata is barely any stronger than she was as a Geni. Like it's like she knows Gentle Step, but she learned Twin Line, and then Sakura gets stronger and gets healing abilities, but everybody else stays the same.
Exactly, and that's the one thing I also love about Noelle is that not only does she get, because every character occasionally gets a power up and then they just they stay stagnant. No,
right there, yeah.
Noelle constantly improves each and every time, to the point where half the fandom is only talking about her power. Like,
listen,
you've seen what Noelle has done. Now she has done it again. She has done it. I keep seeing people say that she's done it again. She has gone even more powerful than she's ever done before. And on top of that, she understands, like I said, she understands her faults. She improves upon it. She helps out people. She does more than just be that idle female character in the back that stays stagnant. My second character, also related to Star Wars, who has went from being something that people didn't relatively know to being something of, you could say, Star Wars, honestly, royalty now.
I know who he's gonna pick.
Ahsoka.
Ahsoka
Tano.
Way better choice. Way better choice than Leia, sir.
Damn.
Here's something you guys understand. Ahsoka Tano first appeared in the Star Wars Clone Wars movie. And at first, a lot of people didn't really vibe with her at first. She just seemed like that stereotypical female character who's always got something to say and stuff like that, really quippy. But as the story progressed, especially in the Star Wars Clone Wars show, and then Rebels, she has progressively gotten better each and every time, learning, becoming stronger.
Yep.
And then like learning from her mistakes and learning from things that happen. Like honestly, because you haven't seen this show, but like one of the most powerful scenes to me is when she made the decision to lead the Jedi Order. Because in that moment, it made so much perfect sense. Because think about it, to give you a little background, the Jedi Temple was bombed. Someone bombed it and it killed some Jedi, either younglings or just some Jedi in the temple.
And the younglings have it so bad.
I don't know if it was younglings, but I'm pretty sure that at least some people did, some Jedi did die, and she was framed for it.
Oh,
and yeah, she was framed for it. So the Jedi put her on council, put her on what's the word? Not put her on council, but
probation. Probation.
They put her on trial.
Oh, okay.
For her crimes.
Oh, true.
And everybody, and here's a part that was so sad, that everybody and their mother, every Star Wars character that you knew at the time, with the exception of Anakin, who was the only person in her corner, everybody was not with her. Yoda wasn't even with her. Everybody was just like, oh yeah, you did this, and we had to clear her name. But after all that, of course, we found out that it wasn't her. It happened to be a different Jedi who did it. But after all that ordeal was done, they was like, okay, well, everything's back together. We can join the Jedi again. And she was just like,
no,
no,
not how that works.
He said, you guys, like the way you guys operate, all that stuff, it's just not working. I just felt like I can't go back to people who were literally quick to turn me away. So I'm leaving. And honestly, that could have been, at first, at the time, we thought that was the end of her character. We were never going to see her again until Star Wars Rebels. And she comes back as this gray Jedi who has these dope ass twin light white blades. And here's the story. Here's the thing. Another reason that she's badass. You know how she got those white blades? It's because she fought one of the Inquisitors, another Force user. And one way to change the color of your lightsaber to what it is by your feelings in the Force. It's not just a crystal you find.
I thought it was a crystal. Color.
Yeah. Like, for example, if you're going to turn a blue crystal, how the Sith get their crystal is that they have to put all their hate and hatred into the crystal, and it breaks and turns into a red crystal. That's so how weird. Yes. So the when she was fighting one of the Inquisitors, she straight up had a philosophical battle with him, similar to Darth Vader, and she defeated him. But then she went through her own trial because of her mixed feelings about leaving the Jedi and kind of leaning towards the dark, because she was not having that Jedi guidance anymore. But she was able to purify the crystal to the point where it came out white. That's how she got her white blades.
Wow.
Then later on, she goes on to lead, just like Princess Leia, she goes on to lead rebel groups across different sectors of the galaxy. Then comes back to fight her old master.
That's crazy. One of the most
heartbreaking fights I've ever seen. That scene was like, that fight scene was so deep.
I need to watch it so badly.
I feel bad. I feel bad because that was the best choice. I'm not gonna lie.
Regretting the Leia choice.
Fuck.
No. Later on, when we assume that Ahsoka was dead, we get more things that happen, and she did turn out to live. And one of the entities of the Force, she's so good. She's so good at what she does, and people believe in her strong will with the Force, that the entity of the light side of the Force was her like little avatar.
That's crazy.
In the form of an owl that always had her back. There's a story behind that in itself, but basically the Force is a living entity, and one of the entities it has is for the light is like, it's a light side, and it took an owl form, and it's always followed her wherever she goes.
Crazy.
And it kept her protected. That's how much the Force loves her.
Dude,
you know what? Good for, because you know what? I feel like that's the truth though, because like a large part of the sequel movies, and while they have their problems, is that they're kind of breaking down that the Jedi way isn't essentially the correct way. You know, I guess at the end of it, they made Rey a gray Jedi-ish, and Ahsoka, someone who's adored by the Force, is also a gray Jedi. And so there isn't like, yes, the balance of the Force needs both Jedis and Sith, but like gray Jedi don't disbalance the Force. You know, they don't need an off-putting. They just exist by like with the Force. And I think that's probably the most important thing that you can do, is not offsetting the balance of the Force and being a gray Jedi. But since we now have that incredible segue, and also guys, we will be putting a poll up on one of our TikToks, and you guys can tell us who won that Stack 'em Up. We're gonna have to figure that out after the podcast. But since we have an incredible segue here talking about Ahsoka, we got to see her planet this week in Bad Batch.
Yes, sir.
We went to Rylar, and it was kind of a very different episode for us, because we essentially didn't really see the Bad Batch until 17 minutes into a 25-minute episode. It was crazy. Yes, but at the same time, my biggest note on the episode was, what an incredible job. Like an actual gold standard on how to build an entire planet's situation in less than one episode. They introduced, it opens with a senator talking to a group of disgruntled Rylarians.
Twi'leks.
Twi'leks. Got you.
Yeah.
And setting up like the Empire's Passover for Rylar, the planet. And so in a matter of 15 minutes, they have built out this entire world's political scheme and how the Empire's takeover is affecting it. And I thought it was a masterclass. Was I alone there?
No, I actually made a note of that like they did such a great job making me care for more than two characters, like 10 episodes, 11 episodes into a 18 episode series. I was like, yo, I care about all these people. So I feel like they switched it up. They switched the gears, right? Because now we're getting into more of like what we have talked about as being like the change from being mercenaries to being freedom fighters, right? That's what we've been talking about like through the show. That's what we think the Bad Batch is going to be, just like becoming a part of the Rebel Alliance, or like the post. The Rebel Alliance, I guess. So the idea was that we met Cham, we met Gobi Glee, we met Elena, and we met her mom, which was what was her name? Eleni was the mom, Hera's the daughter. Hera's the one. And honestly, bro, I feel like this week, not gonna lie, has been filled with a lot of great female characters, because Elena got me from the jump. So I love the plan. I love the situation. I love how they added conflict without it being cheesy. It actually meant a lot of things for the actual people in Ryloth. So overall, I think this was a solid like 8.5 episode. Yeah, 8.5 out of 10. What do you think, Mizu?
Honestly, I'm going to give it a 9 for the simple fact that they put in something that makes me geek out a little bit. Hera, the daughter of the leader of Rylar. Yeah. And for those who don't know, Hera is one of the main characters of the Rebels series. So I thought that was pretty cool, because I was sitting here like, when they said her name Hera, I was just like, Hera, that sounds so familiar. Like, you mean like Hera? And then I looked it up. I'm like, holy crap, it is her. And going back off her picture that she had of her parents, and they look exactly how she pictured them. I thought that was pretty cool. So I love the fact that Hera meets Omega. So Hera has met the Bad Batch.
That was cool. That was a cool moment there. Like Omega showing Hera around the ship and all of that.
And look and listen, I'll say the Star Wars TV show continuity, show continuity is freaking amazing.
It's perfect.
I never seen how consistent it is when it comes to stuff and callbacks and stuff of that nature. The Clone Wars, Rebels, and even now Bad Batch.
You're good. Yeah, you're good.
You're good.
Even out Bad Batch, they all connect very well. I love how they do that, and it all makes sense. You're never sitting here like, oh, that's a plot hole. That's a plot hole. If only the movies just followed through with the same logic.
Just have the people who make the TV shows make the movies. It's what I've been saying to DC for legitimate like years and years and years. DC has never missed with an animated movie. They're all good. I was like, why are we not just having those guys make the regular movies? But yes, no, you're right. Continuity is incredible.
Here's one of the things that I think that shows how great the Star Wars TV show continuity is that the creators of it watched the original trilogies and the prequels, and one of the scenes when Anakin in Star Wars 3 is talking to Grievous, and he's just like, oh, I imagine you to be a lot taller, and it's just a throwaway line. But the creators of it just like, oh, that means they never met each other. So throughout the entire Star Wars Clone Wars show, Anakin and Grievous never met. They never meet ever. There are close encounters, but they never meet because they kept it because of that one throwaway line. They kept it to make sure it stays that way. So it made sense.
Refused to retcon.
Dave Filoni is a god of storytelling, bro.
He is very good at his job. So here's my thing, guys. I think I have a theory. Yes, and I think the theory could have large implications down the line. You guys saw Crosshair, right?
Yeah.
He has a large chunk of his head gone now.
Yeah.
Ooh, that chunk of his head that's missing, exactly where the inhibitor chip was.
Ooh.
I think Crosshair's inhibitor chip got blown out of his head. And I think at this point, the only thing driving him is legitimate, he's gone too far and now he's committed to the cause. He's committed to the purpose. He was never a big fan of the Bad Batch anyways. He's a salty dude. But when they got their inhibitor chip removed, they all had Band-Aids there on the side of their
right-hand side of their head. I'm looking at
the right-hand side of their head, and Crosshair now has a chunk of his skull missing in that exact spot. So what are Crosshair's motivations now to stay with the Death Troopers? We don't know. That's just my theory. I don't know what it could mean for down the line, but I think I'm calling this one.
Maybe I might let this sound messed up. Maybe he just likes killing.
I don't know. That's his glorious purpose.
The Frieza effect, bro.
Yeah, you get addicted to it.
Yeah. Honestly,
people just think I'm out here fighting for my life, but really, I just like fighting.
The question that I have, right? Having said that, would we be opposed to having like a death match between Haunter and Crosshair then to save Omega or something like that?
Nope. Not even remotely. I would not be opposed to that. It would be just like the mission in Metal Gear Solid, where there's a sniper and you have to crawl through all the trees and you have to get the sniper. It's the hardest mission in the entirety of the Metal Gear verse. And they do different iterations of it several times. There's one with Butterfly in Metal Gear 4 and all of these things. Not Butterfly. Her gun is the Butterfly. But regardless, yes, that would be awesome. I think that's the only way we can end the show is the ultimate death match between the Death Troopers and the Bad Batch.
Yep.
What about you? What were you saying, Jose?
No, I was gonna say, have we met? Have we been introduced to the other people?
The other Death Troopers?
Because I know when they scorched people Crosshairs didn't hesitate to cap one of his own. So I'm like, okay, no. Are these people gonna have personalities, or are they just Crosshairs minions?
Well, earlier in the episode we see their faces, but that's about it. Yeah, we haven't we're not sitting down. They're like, hi, I'm Buster Rhymes or something, you know. But I just Buster Rhymes is now a Death Trooper. It's canon. But I thought that was incredible. And I also think all right, first off, why did they smoke the senator like that? Since we're talking Crosshairs. Why did they smoke a senator that was sympathetic to their cause like that? That confused me.
Because they were looking for an excuse to take away the only person that the people in Ryloth were loyal to, which is Cham. So I guess as soon as he had the gun pointed at them, they could say it's plausible cause. It's oh, they had an assassination on the senator, so Empire's taking over. right? Am I correct, Mizu? I think.
I mean, that doesn't sound that out of pocket. What do you think of Mizu?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, after like the whole scene when they found Hera snooping around, they're just like, oh well. I mean, like if we do that, then like she's the senator's daughter, that she can do this, that, and the third. So we're not gonna, attack her. So like, yeah, they have their ways of getting around it. So it's not impossible.
Yeah, I mean that was really cool. Like I said, masterclass in building a story in one episode. The only time I've ever seen something close to it is probably like episode 8 or so of SAO. No, earlier than that. When they have Kirito join a guild and they build out the entire guild story before they kill off the entire guild, all in one 22-minute episode, and it feels like it's like 2 hours long. And that's what that episode felt like. It literally felt like it was longer than it actually was. But since we're talking about episodes that, that did a good job of building a verse, building out the storyline, we missed MHA last week. And now we have it back this week. And it was really cool and really interesting that we are now getting to see Hawks as an undercover agent. He's passing out the literature of the libertarian movement or whatever it is. And it is so cool seeing him seeing his abilities. He can use his feathers to listen to ultrasonic sounds and all of that. You caught the episode, right, Mizu?
Yes. I also love the fact that I guess the dreaded scene that some My Hero fans are not too fond of, but I'm looking forward to it. Is I don't want to say too much, but a certain person is going to get his time to shine.
Okay.
And some fans are not fond of it, but I have been a sympathizer of this character a little bit. And I know it's kind of controversial, but I've been in his corner just a tad bit.
Are we talking about Endeavor?
Yes.
We're talking about Endeavor. Yes. Okay. And here's the thing. This was a really interesting episode for Endeavor. And it's also just been a really interesting season for Endeavor because he's probably the most polarizing character in this entire show. And it's because, quite frankly, he was an abuser. He abused Shoto. He was a terrible father, and now he's trying to win back his son. And I actually really like the way they're approaching it. And you are a sympathizer, and that's interesting. And I think everyone deserves a second chance and all that. But at the same time, I love Shoto not giving him the time of the day. I love it because when it boils down to it, it's up to Shoto whether or not he wants to forgive Endeavor for all those things that happened. And so listen, I feel like the easiest way to go about it is like Shoto Endeavor skip off into the sunset. But this is a lighthearted, it's not kiddie, but it's a lighthearted show that does have some darker themes like abuse. And Shoto is dealing it with a way that I would have dealt with it. Coming from a similar situation as a child, that's how I would have dealt with it. And that's how I continue to deal with it. And so it is a very interesting and understandable and well-written approach to Endeavor as a character. And I love it. And here's the thing, they've done it so well. I don't know where I sit with Endeavor. But you're a sympathizer to the cause, and he's about to get it.
It's because I'm going off of what I've been reading in the manga and what transpires. Of course, it's never going to be forgive and forget. No,
never.
It's more of I just appreciate the fact that he is trying, because most anime dads and other stuff could just be whatever. It's whatever, or they can easily gloss over it and be like, oh yeah, I did this, well, I'll fix that there. But no, he is making a continuous active effort. Yeah. And of course, another thing, it's not just that, he's not just looking for an apology, he's actually thinking about it. He's actually looking back at the stuff he does, and it's just man, I was pretty fucked up.
Yeah. And it's not even just with Shoto. That's the important part. It's not even just with his golden son. He's trying to do it with all of his children. He's trying to make he still has a relationship with some of his children because he was harder on Shoto than he was with others. but like he is trying to mend those bridges. And I think that's really, really cool. And I think it's a very interesting subplot. Like that's not even close to the main plot of the story. Like those are two arguably side characters, but there's so much in-depthness with their relationship that it actually fleshes out what is a side character relationship. It makes it feel like it's a main storyline, but it's not. It's not like to the grand scheme of the story. It means nothing.
Yes, definitely.
I also think that he's an incredible teacher. Like, say what you will about how he is as a father, like the way he's teaching Todoroki and Bakugo how to like compress their fire, like in Fire Force. It's like holding down the finger, to make the compression of the fire faster, is awesome. It's really, really cool seeing him train all of these kids. And you could say that this entire season like hasn't necessarily progressed the plot, but we have learned so much about these characters and their motivations. And I think this episode was a fantastic example of that, don't you?
Oh, yes, absolutely. And even though those who say that it's not progressing, like, because I have a feeling like some people like kind of like what they did with the other festival arc, that people everybody thought that was filler with Gentle Criminal and stuff like that. Like, no, that's actually canon.
Yeah,
it just seems to you like filler, but it's like all this stuff does matter. So even stuff right now, like, don't write this off as like some kind of background thing. The stuff in here does matter, and it will play out, and not just in this arc, but in arcs to come.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. Is like they flesh out MHA definitely. If you had to give it one accolade, is its ability to flesh out a universe. That is something it's done well for a long time, and it doesn't ever make it feel tedious, bothersome, like slow. It's been fantastic. My thing is also my final note on the episode is you would just, if I know the city as I do, if I'm running around, I would remember which certain sections were Endeavor's territory and which weren't, because for a hit and run, that man lit himself on fire, flew across the city and ripped the man off a bike. And I was like, yeah, just don't commit crime in like certain parts of the city, right? Like,
yeah, for real. You can imagine us walking down the street like, okay, we're going to rob this bank. Wait, what province are we in? It's like, oh, it's
exactly.
Province? Never mind. We got to do it a different place. What do you mean? He's going to know. Who's going to know? He's going to know.
Do you know who's 3 blocks down the street? It's like in Gotham. You're like, I'm not doing crime. I'm trying to get my arm ripped out of my socket. Like I'm in Endeavor's hood currently. No, thank you. But since we are talking Endeavor and we're talking Todoroki, hey, you're in the sports festival here. Almost finished it up here, my guy. You want to talk to us about a little more MHA?
Oh, yes, sir. So the first session of catching up with Jose, it's been a while. It's been a wild couple of weeks for me. But I did put my
in a boot.
Yes, I did put my big boy pants, and I saw over 6 episodes. So I've seen a couple of the battles. I saw Ashido fight Aoyama. Totally trashed that guy. I mean, that
never changes. He's
when are we gonna?
When do we get naval laser being useful? We don't. We don't.
That's what
it doesn't. It doesn't happen. He shoots a laser out of his stomach. What did you think was gonna happen?
One of the things that I was gonna say, I think when they were stretching him off, he had like a brown part. Like, did he actually like shit himself on like right there?
Well, so he gets stomach issues when he uses his naval laser
for more than a second.
He essentially has like irritable bowel syndrome.
Oh god,
that is brought on by his quirk. So yeah, it's a solid possibility.
So definitely that it was just funny. At that point, the Tetsu fight was also pretty ridiculous because I mean,
he's one of my favorite characters.
They're just the same thing. It's the same set of powers. Yeah. It's basically rock and steel. It's like a same.
It's Reggie Rock and Reggie Steel.
Yeah, it's
Reggie Rock and Reggie Steel fighting each other.
Nobody can tell me different. It's just 2 Pokemons fighting. But I love that the 2 fights that actually meant a lot in this arc, at least so far. Well, with a little bit. So okay, the fight with Tokoyami. Right? He fought Momo, right? He literally wrecked her with 2 shots, like 3 shots, maybe. Like, I mean, this dude is powerful AF. So I want to see more of him. I want to see his backstory. I am a really big fan of the bird, the man bird. I like Tokoyami.
Yes.
I like Tokoyami a lot.
Fan of him as well.
I'm in the Tokoyami camp for sure.
Yeah.
We got to talk about it. Okay, let's go.
Get into it.
For those of you that have been following my catching up series so far, I have a problem, a visible, a vocal problem with Mr. Triple B himself, the baby back bitch, Bakugo. So I saw the Uraraka Bakugo fight. This man, not only is he kind of shaky in terms of tactics, he is also just a horrible human being. He was coming in for the kill. Even though like he was about to get clapped because like Uraraka did what she had to do. She basically pulled a spirit bomb scenario instead of just like waiting there, she was literally just evading deathly fire traps at every nook and cranny and corner. So Uraraka proved that her strategy is way more versatile than just her ability. Smart. Yeah, yes. Her ability might seem kind of lacking in some matchups because she needs physical contact, but she's smartical. She can power the Prindle.
Big
so that's an obscure reference.
Did you just make a Prindle reference?
Yes, that's
Sweet
Life of Second Cody references.
My goodness, that's crazy.
She's smart enough for the Prindle, bro. So she showed me that she is very valuable to Class 1A. Bakugo showed me he should be in the villain version of UA. Like, what the fuck are we doing, bro? Bakugo sucks. I don't like him. I don't like him.
They do try and take him.
Hey. I'ma just say that firepower. I mean, I saw a death battle between Shoto and Zuko. What I really want to know is,
who did they have win?
Shoto. I mean, fire and ice. Yeah. It's too much.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say Bakugo versus Zuko. That would be interesting. I would still pick Zuko, but Bakugo is just OP. He's OP. He literally put up one hand and literally put all of his sweat into that shot.
Yeah,
and it was beautiful. It was beautiful.
He gets a lot stronger because there's so much you can do with like having nitroglycerin at your expense. Very versatile. Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to see him get even more villainous. Okay, perfect. So Bakugo is in my shit list. He's also my he's not the worst character because I love when I hope at some point he goes through the Vegeta effect where he just likes the hero a little bit more.
He's trying to get heavily racist. Yeah. Boy, would I just love it if he leaned into this racism.
No. But like, dude, like honestly, even with that, bro, Frieza hates Goku, but he learned to work with him in the Tournament of Power. So like, even if you learn to work with the person that you're trying to beat, or in this case, just like try to like overpower or outdo, Bakugo should just not be static. He's literally I'm 23 episodes into the second season of MHA and he's still a bitch. Like, why?
Oh, buddy, we're 100 episodes in and he's still a bitch.
Okay, bet. Okay,
listen. Actually, this season has been big on trying to rewrite Bakugo. Well, not rewrite Bakugo, but give him his character development arc. And listen, just like with Endeavor, he's a very polarizing character. So people are starting. Some people are like, "Hey, listen, I like Bakugo. Like Mizu's wife adores Bakugo."
Absolutely love this man.
I am not in that camp. I'm not in that camp. And I believe if you start off hating Bakugo, it's a good chance you're going to hate him for a while. So you might be with me once it all comes down to it. But I guess approach it with an open mind.
I gotta say, honestly, I'm only the reason why I'm like leaning towards favoring him. I wouldn't say I like him, but I favor him or tolerate
the health of his marriage.
It's because like it's because my wife can because of my wife, as in she showed me her perspective on it. But if she wasn't there, I would have been in the same camp. Like, oh yeah, he needs to go.
Oh my god. So yeah, at least I'm not the only one. That's the for sure. But the most important thing that I saw from the 8 or so episodes that I saw binged back to back. Holy moly, what I've been praying for. Shoto Todoroki's story. fleshed out, and then a battle with Deku. That was legitness to add another obscure Vine reference right there. So,
and the thing is, the MC doesn't win.
I know.
How often does that happen?
Bites the dust, but in the best way possible. Man literally went off trying to he broke his fingers 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 and then went like
back and rebroke
them. So he was literally about to like destroy his entire body just to make Shoto prove to himself that he can take the quirk that he hates and make it his own.
Yep.
I fucking love that. Like Deku's my guy. I'm in the Deku camp. Also, Shoto is extremely overpowered. I'm gonna just leave it right there. Like even when he used his ice ability too much and almost gave him frostbite, he was still overwhelmingly more powerful than Deku at that point. I'm like, bro, this dude, if this dude controls his temperature, he could literally wipe half of the animated shows that we've seen so far. He could literally take Korra and take her out for a spin. Honestly, the TBH.
This dude literally
that's gonna get you some hate.
This dude literally, because of the issues with his father, when he fought with I forgot his name at the moment, basically Tate dude, and all he did was shift his foot and froze half the stadium.
Yeah, just sent it. Absolutely sent it. And the thing is, he's only getting stronger, dude, because currently he's trying, like the episode that me and Mizu just watched, he's trying to learn how to fly with his fire. That's a big thing, is learning how to control his jet propulsion with his fire.
Bakugo?
He's only, so Bakugo doesn't really fly. Bakugo does, he kind of jumps. He explodes and it like sends him around. So they're both trying to figure out ways to get like continuous jet propulsion.
Okay. Bet.
They're only getting stronger. But yes, Shoto is a very interesting, like he's a very interesting character study into like the fact that he doesn't want to use his father's quirk is part of his storyline, and it's part of a larger like overarching story that we talked about essentially, is that you can hate where you came from, but you're not the person who made you.
Yeah.
And that's a really interesting subplot and a very important subplot all throughout MHA. So that's what I love about Shoto the most. What were you saying?
The other big take that I have for this week in terms of catching up is I have another contender for Triple B, and it is Endeavor. It is Endeavor. Mance is literally a bum. Man, so this dude, his dude literally says, "Oh, you're my creation." And like when we see all the flashbacks, it's like, "Woman, what are you doing? Like this is what are you doing to my perfect creation?" I'm like, "This is your son, sir." Yeah. And then when he comes and gives like supportive encouragement at the festival, where he's like, "Yes, you finally embraced it. Do it, my son." I'm like, no, bro. You a certified bum. You're just mad that you couldn't beat All Might. And you're gonna have to fight it out with Bakugo, the fire buddies, to be who's the Triple B every day of the week. So
they both get redeemed. I'd say Endeavor's had more redemption than Bakugo, and for those listening in audio,
he's gonna get more redemption than.
He's got further to go.
I can't say too much, but stuff does happen with Bakugo as well. But I'll say right now, Endeavor still has the edge in more redemption, or look at in his character for now. But
and then the last thing that I had to say, which actually might cause a little bit of a fuzz. And I wanted to see what you two were thinking. I'm not gonna lie, I'm finding Deku to be one, more emotionally appealing, two, more heroic in a sense, and even more like important to the plot than Yuji Itadori from JJK. So whenever we get like super pro setups, this is where we're gonna have like the sound effects be like dun, 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 or like a siren, because I just saw Nick's face. I just saw Nick's face of it is at this moment that he knew he fucked up. That's what Nick's face was like.
But hold on, before we say that,
go ahead.
Do the sound again, because I also agree with you. I say that Deku.
Baby. Why am I always the odd man out?
What a plot twist!
Agree. I believe that Deku, to me, in terms of, I feel like to me, Deku is a better MC. So, granted, Itadori is still great. Itadori is still great. But if we're bringing up that Itadori and Deku, I definitely say Deku for sure. Deku, not even just slightly. I mean Deku hands down. I don't even go so far to say that.
My dude.
Here's the thing. Okay, so I understand the appeal for both of them. I really do. Yes. Deku's great. I love him. He's heroic in all of that. But Itadori, and here's the thing, Deku harkens more to the new gen anime protagonist than Itadori by a long shot. Look at Tanjiro and Deku. They're very similar in terms of who they are. And they're both fantastic characters. But Itadori is an old school shonen MC, and that's why I love him. He's dumb, he's powerful, and he's angry. And that is how you build an MC that I love. My favorite MC of all time is Gon, and Itadori, Naruto, Goku. Those are my guys. Those are my guys. I love them as MCs. I'm not a Vegeta guy. I'm not a Sasuke guy. I like Killua. But I'm not a Fushiguro guy. Like, I like the old school, dumb, powerful, and angry MC. And I understand where you're coming from. Tanjiro and Deku are more socially competent, emotionally there. And they do definitely have. I'll
say this.
I don't think Deku has more importance to the storyline than Tanjiro, but go off, King.
What I was gonna say is that I'll retract back on one thing. I do think Itadori is way more interesting because of the duality that he has with I forgot the name of the demon. Sukuna. Yeah. So the relationship that he has with Sukuna is a lot more interesting because we haven't seen the whole full thing fleshed out yet, where Sukuna even tries to show his full power, and then Yuji's just trying to stop him. So that duality adds more flavor to it. But I just think from the way that they've been acting, Justin, and granted, there's a lot more context since there's 5 seasons of MHA out, and there's only 1 of JJK, and then movie 0 is about to come out. I know that I have a lot more to catch up on, and a lot more to experience.
But I mean, that being said, you've only watched 24 episodes of MHA, so it's about even Stevens for you.
Oh yeah, true. And then I was just counting to see if the episode season 1 had more episodes, but yes, it's basically episode 23. So that this is just my preliminary, flavorful hot take. But honestly, bro, dude, this dude was literally willing to sacrifice his entire body on the line just to prove a point to his rival that he could level up his game. I know that Yuji technically sacrificed himself and just plain old died to sacrifice himself for his squad, but at the same time, he has been more than willing to just go willy-nilly into a battle and just say, fuck it, I'm just gonna try to do it and survive. Whereas
dumb and powerful.
True. Whereas Deku literally thinks about the consequences, thinks about his strategy, thinks about how could this help his friends, and how could this help his pursuit to become a pro hero. So I'm Team Deku. That's all I gotta say.
I mean, listen, we're all entitled to our opinions, even if they're wrong. Okay, opinions are like assholes.
Big fact.
Everybody's got one. Doesn't mean I want to see yours. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
I like that.
So as opposed to doing winners and losers this week, we did stack them up. So guys, do keep an eye out for our stack them up poll. All right, we want to see who won. We want a definitive winner. Okay, we haven't decided what
3.
The crap. 3.
But let's settle on the 3 people. So Mizu picked Ahsoka, right?
Yeah,
that's her picker. Damn it.
Joe chose Leia.
Katara.
Leia
I'm going
for
Katara.
sure.
I'm going
It was
Katara.
definitely Leia. I think it was.
Katara.
Yeah. No. Okay.
So Ahsoka, Katara, and then we have Nobara from
the
JJK.
clear-cut winner. Clear-cut winner. Emotional lead, because apparently Yuji Itadori can't do it himself. according to the rest of my podcast. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for checking in with us this week. It has been a pleasure speaking into your ear holes. I have been Nixie Comedy, NC Hammer 23 on YouTube and Twitch. Jose?
Your boy, Tropical Joe, the hot take master, the Tropical Joe, or I'm Tropical Joe, wherever you can find me. Stay tuned to that Twitch page because we will be making some dank streams with the main man, Nixie Comedy. So
I was supposed to rate him Saturday, but he got on early because he wanted to watch worse football.
Well, I was also very, very sick too, so I had to stream earlier. So
also shout out to the Homeland for taking home the Europa Cup.
Hey, that's true. We forgot about the sports. Oh my God.
We did forget about the sports. Oh my God.
All right.
We're still recording.
We can do it. Okay, but yeah, but before we get into the sports, yes, the Tropical Joe, I'm Tropical Joe. Mizu, plug yourself.
Mizu Shogun on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. You know, check me out if you want to know anything about anime. I'm the living anime codex. Apparently I've been told.
Anime encyclopedia, this guy over here.
I heard that, I haven't heard that one in a while, but I heard that before too.
I like anime librarian personally for you. That's what I like. That's how I refer to you to all my friends. I was like, yeah, he's our anime librarian. Like, that's the guy. It's our guy that we ask. Okay, yes. Italia, the Homeland brought it home. It's not going home to England. Hashtag 4th of July all over again. I'm so happy they lost. I'm so happy they lost.
Yeah.
That game was a banger. That game was a banger. So for those of you that don't know what we're talking about, so this weekend is huge. This weekend was huge in the sports realm. And it is currently going on because in 5 minutes, the NBA Finals Game 3 is going to happen. But
Suns in 4.
That's what I've been saying. My loser of the week might be Giannis Antetokounmpo. But basically what happened was on Friday, we had Lionel Messi and Argentina make history in the Super Clásico of the Americas. And not just any Super Clásico, not just a friendly. In the Continental Cup, the Copa America, they fucking pulled through after 4 major losses for this man.
Was Neymar was in for Brazil, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So it was literally the battle of the stars, and Argentina found a way. They were not the better team in my opinion, but they found a way to win. So they won the cup. Messi is finally redeemed. The battle between who is the best player to step foot on the football pitch is Ronaldo or Messi is completely alive and well. And then after that, that was on Friday. That was bad news.
That's old news.
That's old news.
Old news.
Today, we had the European Cup kick off the final, one of the most intense finals that I've seen in a while. So we had Italia and England.
Oh man.
People were very, very excited to see if football was indeed coming home. But it is going to stop for another 4 years because England is going to face another dreaded penalty shootout and came out with a big fat L.
Yeah, they did.
And Italy won. So I'm very excited to see what happens next. Big facts about that. And now that we have the NBA Finals, who are you guys rooting for? I know you said
the Suns. Chris Paul. Suns, Chris Paul, whole way.
Who are you rooting for? Milwaukee or Phoenix?
I might go with Phoenix.
Let's go. Okay, so we're a full Phoenix podcast.
It's
because of the Phoenix Force.
Phoenix Suns.
It's because of the Phoenix Force,
That's it. And also, Conor McGregor fought Dustin Poirier, and he snapped his leg, and it was hilarious because USA. Been a big weekend for USA. That's all I'm going to say. Also, technically, people were chanting USA, USA in the Gilbert Burns versus Wonder Boy fight because they wanted Wonder Boy to beat Gilbert Burns, who was Brazilian. And then they started chanting, and then people weren't chanting it as loud against McGregor. And I was like, yeah, you're chanting it because Wonder Boy is white and Gilbert Burns is Latino. It's not because he's American. You would be chanting USA versus Conor McGregor as well. But that's neither here nor there. If you're going to be American, root for all the Americans, not just when they're different races, everybody. Get it together, Las Vegas. But yes, Conor McGregor snapped his leg, and that was fantastic. Dustin Poirier, 2-1, baby. Conor's going home. He's lost 3 out of his 4 last fights. Get back to potato land, sir.
Oh man,
no.
That has been the Weeb Weekly.
Just letting you know to all our Irish fans, we care about you. We just
I love Ireland. I went to college in Ireland. I went to UC Dublin. Okay, I know that. I can do a County Cork accent as good as anybody. But listen, I do love Ireland. I love Irish listeners. But yes, I'm happy with Dustin Poirier won. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for checking in with the Weeb Weekly. We will see you guys next week. Bye.